Okay, let's discuss the opposition between Orion and Ophiuchus and how this energy affects our lives. It's a perfect time to discuss this energy since tomorrow's full moon activates this opposition with the full moon sun in Ophiuchus and the full moon itself in the energy of Orion. Okay, now let's see what the universe has in store for us next. The Orion-Ophiuchus opposition. Ancient Egyptians included both Orion and Ophiuchus in a 14 constellation astrology system. It is believed that the constellation of Orion did cross the sun's ecliptic at one time, as Ophiuchus does now. But over time, as the Earth's tilt changed, Orion went just under the ecliptic, while its opposite, Ophiuchus, was able to touch and cross the path of the sun's ecliptic. Nevertheless, both constellations still cross the celestial equator. And I have found over time that reading the energy of the constellations that cross the celestial equator is just as important as reading the energy of the constellations that cross the sun's elliptical path. In fact, both Pisces and Virgo, like Ophiuchus, have stars which cross both the celestial equator and the sun's ecliptic. As you might remember from my last video on the Metaphysical Astrology Explained playlist titled Scorpio, Mars, Ophiuchus, Pluto, we discussed the emotional healing energetic influences of the stars of Ophiuchus through its connection with the spiritual plane or galactic center. Orion is the opposite of that. To keep this video short and concise, please reference my previous Scorpio Ophiuchus video for more details on Ophiuchus. As for Orion, Orion is the brightest and hence most powerful constellation in our sky. Like Ophiuchus, Orion lies on the plane of the Milky Way. Ophiuchus at the galactic center, the gate of the gods. On the opposite, the flip side, Orion's energy is that of the anti-galactic center, the gate of man, or the material realm. It has to do with our ability to survive even the harshest physical conditions and lack of material and or financial abundance, sometimes having only the bare necessities needed to survive. Orion has to do with healing our physical body and or lack of material sustenance within the physical plane, which would include financial sustenance too. This is done through connecting to the energies of all that surrounds us within our physical environment. Orion energy is similar to that of a baby bird that is pushed from the comforts of its family's nest, where it has been accustomed to being handed everything it needs to survive, and then suddenly being pushed out into the greater world on its own for the first time, where it will need to learn quickly how to intuitively navigate its immediate surroundings for its best chance of survival. Orion's energy forces us to overcome the basically laziness learned in the abundant physical pleasures and comforts given to us from others in Taurus. Orion forces us to go without comfort and all forms of material and sensual and physical pleasure that might have come easily to us before. Orion asks us to learn to survive even the most sparse conditions without falling into a victimhood mindset. Instead, we must learn how to survive within an environment that is often physically difficult and doesn't care for us personally, and to stay strong while doing so. But if we play the victim, if we allow ourselves to emanate negative, aggressive energy through thought, word, or action or deed, right? Conditions will worsen. Instead, we must remember that every life circumstance happens to teach us something, to embrace the moment, even the hardest, which in this energy often includes lack of support from family. We cannot spread negative memes about victimhood or woe is me. Instead, we must simply be in the moment, find our center, our physical and mental equilibrium, not through ascending as in Ophiuchus, but in grounding into the supportive energies of the earth, the physical, the material plane. We must care for our physical needs, no matter how much we seemingly lack to do so. Abundance is always available. We must learn how to connect to the energies that will attract and bring forth abundant physical sustenance into our lives. As Scorpio Ophiuchus supports the development of claircognizance, Taurus Orion support the development of clairsentience, not through our emotional body like Cancer and the moon, but through our most physical senses. We need to learn to read the energy of people and all other physical matter in our immediate environments through honing our physical senses, which is crucial to survival. In a way, it's a way of learning how to read the room, the energies in the room. Clairsentience is what many see as instinct, as when a dog warns a person standing beneath a heavy branch to move or pushes them out of the way just before the branch falls. How did the dog know the branch was going to fall? Clairsentience. The dog was interpreting the change in energetic vibrations of the branch as it disconnected from its tree. Becoming omniscient is understanding very clearly the feelings of dark, light, harsh, supportive, destructive, constructive energies that are emanating from people and things all around us in the physical world. The skill of reading energy of clairsentience helps one survive alone in the harshest of life's circumstances. In short, the activated higher expression of Orion energy gives one great ability to read the room, so to speak, to analyze and resolve self-restrictions of self and one's environment. The Orion hunter energy supports short and long-term problem solving, how to survive on one's own, completely independent of others. Elevated Orion doesn't mind roughing it, camping, hiking, hunting, being in nature. This person understands the value of simplicity, connecting to one's physical strength and harnessing the power of nature. This energy gives a person great physical endurance. Time in nature allows them to hone their physical senses, their intuitive clairsentient skills. Empowered Orions, people who master this energy, are full of optimism and exude positive energy despite any harsh condition in their material world, despite what others might see as material lack. Elevated Orions will never play the victim card because they understand that the loss of material possessions, in fact, has freed them in many ways to be free and independent from any form of toxic relationships or situations. They realized that the loss of any of these toxic relationships was simply the catalyst to start them on a journey of self-actualization to physical and financial independence and abundance, without which one is always at the risk of being in a toxic situation if they have to be dependent on another. In its lowest and harshest expression, the energy of the constellation Orion, the lack of material support, financial support needed to survive, results obviously in financial hardship at first and harsh living conditions. If the energy is not understood or mastered, eventually they will even lose their physical strength. Nonetheless, people under this influence will often still work hard to help provide for their unsupportive families or parents or children in the hopes of someday some form of reciprocation. But that is not what this lesson is about. Hence, for a person's own health and well-being, one will often have to break off family relations with these unsupportive, neglectful, abusive family members, possibly throughout their entire lives. This all depends on aspects in one's own natal chart and the natal chart of the other family members. If Orion is highly activated in a chart, a person's greatest material loss in life will be experienced through some sort of issues with their family and or their home. Obviously, a person can become physically exhausted and financially drained by trying to meet the unreasonable demands and expectations of such family members. To not just survive, but to thrive, The person will often feel as though they must continually distance themselves from these dangerous, toxic family members, which often results in a person having to leave behind some material, sometimes even all of their material possessions, possibly inheritance or some form of promised financial support that never comes, leaving behind any and all material possessions or links to material gains from their former life. In its lowest expression, a person under Orion's influence might also have problems in love as a result, especially when they try to form a supporting family of their own. Until a person masters the higher expression of Orion, life will not be easy because the person will be constantly faced with some financial or material issue, barriers that they will have to solve with no help from anyone else. And as mentioned, they can be especially blind or unlucky in matters of love. People born directly under this influence are strong and attractive and have a powerful sexual charge, but they will attract partners that will take advantage of their vulnerability. And again, like their birth family, can be physically and or materially and or financially abusive and or neglectful. Until the energy of Orion is mastered, these loving relationships and or marriages will lead to this person's financial ruin and possibly the loss of all their material possessions, which they had gained after they had left their abusive and neglectful families behind. Nonetheless, the survival instinct within the Orion energy will continually push such a person to quickly pick themselves up, brush themselves off, and start anew. This is the opposite, if you remember, of the very heavy and dark and emotional, depressing abyss that one can fall into under the Scorpio energy that Ophiuchus helps us rise out of. We don't want to dwell on the lowest expression of Orion. So let's talk about how does a person make the energy, what can they do in their physical world to make the energy of Orion work in their favor? How can a person turn material lack into a material abundance? Well, number one is definitely staying positive, right? And continuing to move forward despite the setbacks. They must cut off any and all toxic family ties during this process. Focus on regaining their physical strength by connecting to the earth energies in any way they can. As mentioned, unlike Ophiuchus, instead of healing through rising to connect to higher energetic realms to heal our emotions, Orion energy supports healing us through helping us learn how to connect to healing earth energies, learning how to ground and use that grounding energy to manifest physical abundance in our lives. Things that can help with this, eating organic, unprocessed foods, drinking filtered, pure, clean water, breathing clean air, spending time connecting to the earth, really connecting, not just, going for walks, but gardening, getting your hands in the soil, yard work, backdoor picnics and backdoor activities, outdoor sports. Yes, walking, but hiking in the woods or in the mountains, running, biking, skiing, snowshoeing, no ATV or motorcycle riding, that doesn't count because the energy and the vibration of these machines interferes with your connection to the subtler earth energies. Also, spending time with happy and healthy animals is also extremely grounding and healing. Crystal healing is also helpful in mastering the energies of Orion. Ultimately, you want to get to a point where you can actually raise the ground's energy. This is the opposite of what we did with Ophiuchus, where we had to connect to higher realms through raising our kundalini up from our sacral chakra up through our crown chakra. In Orion, we must take the earth energy and bring it up through our feet chakras, our knee chakras, into our root chakra. It's very, very different. Eventually, you need to know how to master both for, holistic health and well-being in multiple facets of your life. Here in Orion, we can also learn to push our energy down from our root chakra to really root in the ground. This is best done in standing, not sitting meditations, as well as using Qigong methodologies, Tai Chi practices. Foot reflexology can also help you open and connect to your foot chakras. I'll start posting videos on various energy healing practices I use in the upcoming year, just after the New Year holiday. In essence, Orion's energy asks us to heal in the opposite way in which Ophiuchus' energy asked us to heal. Opposite, yet connected through our energetic bodies. Orion heals our physical material survival needs. It opens our eyes to all that is in our immediate environment and how to navigate the physical plane in the way that is best for our survival. While Ophiuchus heals our broken emotional body. Both of these are done through our energetic body. Okay, let's sum up the Ophiuchus Orion opposition. Ophiuchus is about the ascent out of emotional darkness. It kills the toxicity of negative emotions. Orion is about grounding to gain independence, to sever any and all toxic family relations. Ophiuchus is about healing our broken emotional body through a direct connection with divine universal energy. Orion is about supporting oneself without the help of direct connection to family. For those under the Orion influence, they are constantly being knocked down, but are simultaneously forced to stand back by Orion's survival instincts. Those under this influence do not wallow in negative emotions. They simply get up out of the dirt, brush themselves off, and start anew. This cycle repeats until the person is able to learn how to navigate the physical, the material world by tapping into the energies of the physical world that surrounds them. Our physical environment and everything in it speaks to us energetically on a constant basis. Understanding what the different energies feel like, what they mean, what and who to stay away from, and what and who will be for our highest and best good. Learning to use this information from your physical senses, your animal instincts, your physical clairsentience to navigate the material world completely dependent of anyone else's support. Ground, connect to the earth energies, act in ways to regain and rebuild your physical strength, attuning to the energies in your physical body. Learn to understand and respond to the people and things in your physical environment, and you will be amazed at how all of your material needs will be provided for, and your financial health restored. As mentioned, ultimately, it is the mastery of both ends of this energetic pole, the energy of Ophiuchus and the energy of Orion, that will give you the material and emotional health and well-being that most people can only dream of. This is why understanding the energetic influence of the constellation of Orion and its relation to Ophiuchus is very, very important for your overall health and well-being. I hope this insight is helpful to you. Wishing everyone a great day. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.